Welcome back, Grandpa's Cosy Corner lovers. I'm here again with my lovely Grandpa, and as you're aware, we are massive fans of skiing, and we've had a couple of funny stories. So Grandpa's going to be telling a story about how you learnt skiing. Is that correct, Grandpa?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, take it away, Grandpa.
Okay, well, hello and welcome again. As you see, I have graduated from beanie hats to scarves with my crocheting. And I had one viewer made a comment last week that he or she was finding it very difficult to crochet and was on the point of giving up. Well, never give up. There's a lot of work went into this. 6 balls of wool and hours of practice. It's a bit like swimming or riding a bike. One moment you can't do it, and the next everything clicks into place and you're okay. I'm rather proud of this, and it's lovely and warm, but I'm going to take it off because my cosy corner is quite cosy enough, as you can see. It's a miserable day out there, cold and grey. Hope the weather's a little bit better where you're watching from. Anyway, yes, as Cameron said, skiing. Well, my attitude to life is it's never too late to do things, and I started my skiing, won't call it a career, I just started skiing in 2005. I went with my son and daughter-in-law and this chap here, who was 7 months old at the time. Yes, just a little bit young to start skiing, but most things, the younger you start, the better it is. But I think 7 months was a little bit young, but I think he enjoyed it. He probably can't remember it.
No, I can't.
No, but anyway. My son and daughter-in-law had been to Canada the year before, skiing, and thoroughly enjoyed it and suggested that I give it a try. Well, I've never been skiing before in my life. When I was a lad, skiing was for the rich and famous. And places like Kitzbühel and Val d'Isère were just imaginary places on a map somewhere. But however, I was 62, I had 2 false hips and a dodgy knee. And much to my daughter's opinions about whether she's a physiotherapist, so she knows what she's talking about, but I decided to give it a go. So we all booked into a lovely resort in Austria called Elmau in the Austrian Tyrol. Lovely hotel, and off we went. Well, the first 2 days of our skiing holiday, I spent just observing people on the nursery slopes. And it all looked fairly straightforward and easy, so yeah. 2 days of observing, 3rd day, ready to go. The slopes are graded in colour. The nursery slopes are green, the next progression upwards is a blue slope, and then you go red and then black. Well, black runs are what I call cliffs, and I think you need to be a mountaineer to get down a black run, but people do it on skis. Anyway, on the 3rd day, I trotted off down to the ski shop, hired myself a pair of skis and boots and poles, and casually ambled off to the bottom of the nursery slopes. So far, so good. Right, time to put on my skis. I'd watched other people do it, looked easy. Ski boots, incidentally, are the most incredible things. They're full of belts and ratchets and pulleys and hopeless for walking in, but once you get them on, then they protect your feet and your ankles. But anyway, I put my boots on without too much trouble and attempted to put my skis on. Yeah, the first one, foot in the binding, press down, click clunk, no problem. Tried to put the second ski on, and the only trouble is that when you take your second foot off the ground, the first foot, which has got a ski on it, does what skis are supposed to do and begins to slide backwards. No good. So I had a brilliant brainwave. I thought, I'll sit down on this nearby bench and put them on instead. Don't want to make a fool of myself. So I sat on the bench, one ski on, another ski on. Okay. Dark glasses on, hat at a rakish angle. Point me at the slopes, I'm ready. So I gingerly got up from the bench that I was sitting on and unfortunately started skiing backwards. Well, I hadn't learned how to stop at this time, and my only recourse was to grab hold of the bench, which I did, and then that proceeded to fall over on top of me, and I finished up in a tangle of benches and skis and poles on the ground with both skis off again. Why make a complete fool? Why make a fool of yourself when with a bit of effort you can make a complete fool of yourself? Anyway, skiers are a friendly bunch, and a couple of chaps with very ill-concealed humour got me back on my feet, got me on my skis, and pushed me towards the bottom of the ski lift. Okay, well, the ski lift for the nursery slope is a T-bar. It's a T-shaped bar, inverted T-shaped bar, and you sit on, you put it between your legs and sit on it, and the thing pulls you up the slope. Yeah, well, I could see another disaster looming here, but anyway, I managed to get the T-bar between my legs, and by the time the tension in the rope took in and started to pull me up the slope, I made an inelegant but successful ride to the top. I was quite proud of that. I managed the T-lift, I managed the ski lift, and there I was standing at the top of the nursery slope. It looked a lot steeper looking down than it did from the bottom looking up. But nothing ventured, nothing gained, and there were lots of other learners there falling over and making a bit of a mess of things, so I wouldn't stand out too badly. But anyway, I gave myself a little push off with my poles. I was absolutely amazed at the acceleration, how suddenly from standing still to doing about 30 miles an hour down this slope. And I had a natural tendency to turn right. It wasn't intentional, I just turned right. And within about 50 yards, I finished up on the side of the piste in some deep snow. However, extricated myself from that and then started to turn left and finished on the other side of the piste in a deep drift. So I sort of zigzagged down the slope, fell over a few times, but got to the bottom, bruised, but I was down in one piece. It's a myth that snow is soft. On the ski slopes, the snow is hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
And when you fall over, it's a bit like falling on concrete. However, undaunted, ready for another go. Got to the bottom of the ski lift. I was prepared this time for what it was all about, and yes, got up to the top of the nursery slopes again, and eventually, after 4 or 5 goes, I could control my turns a little bit. I'd learned how to stop, almost, and things were progressing. Time for a whiskey and a sauna. Anyway, the day after, right, here we go. The hotel that we were staying in used to have in the doorway on the way out a big bowl of hard-boiled eggs that you could help yourself to. And if sort of hunger strikes halfway down the slope, you can scoff on a nice boiled egg. Little self-contained package, ideal sort of things. Unfortunately, I stuffed about 6 of these in my jacket pockets. And when I subsequently fell over on the way down the slope, I found that some of the eggs weren't in fact hard-boiled. I finished up with sort of egg yolk pouring out of my jacket pockets. However, don't think anybody noticed. But skiing is exhilarating, it really is. You're outside in the crisp mountain air in beautiful locations, and I can think of nothing better. So the day after, I decided I would take some pictures. So I popped my camera in the top pocket, no boiled eggs this time. Got on the T-bar and started going up and taking pictures. And I suddenly realised that the incline I was going up was considerably steeper than I remembered it from the day before. And the problem was that the T-bar, halfway up you jump off at the top of the nursery slopes, and if you don't jump off, it carries on up to the top of a much, much steeper red slope. So by the time I'd realised that I'd forgotten to get off, and I was a third of the way up towards the summit of a red slope, I had to make a decision whether to stay on and try and ski down a red slope or jump off. Well, I jumped off. Now, the snow on the side of the piste is not the same as the hard-packed snow on the piste. It's soft and fluffy, and I found myself up to my armpits in a snowdrift with one ski missing, poles all over the place. But the red slope piste was only about 20 yards away, but it took me nearly 2 hours to extricate myself from this snowdrift. And although ski suits are fine for keeping you warm when you're whizzing down a slope, when you're struggling in a snowdrift for 2 hours, I was absolutely roasting. Sweat was pouring off me. My wife was wondering where the hell I'd got to and what I'd been doing. Anyway, it caused much mirth, but finally made it down to the bottom, walking, incidentally, down the red slope bit. The red slopes are much, much steeper than the nursery slopes. I did eventually, after a few more years of skiing, manage to, I won't say master red slopes, but I could get down them inelegantly, but nevertheless. And for 10 years, I had some terrific family holidays. This chap learnt to ski. It wasn't long before he was whizzing past me. Show off. But it didn't matter. I was with my family outside in the lovely crisp fresh air, and at the end of every day, a couple of beers in the local bar, and back to the hotel. And the hotel had a hot tub at the back of the hotel, outside, an external one, and there was nothing finer than to climb into the hot tub with a large whiskey, mountains in the background, snow-capped mountains of the Austrian Tyrol. Wonderful. And I would still be skiing today if I hadn't taken one risk too many. I got to the top of a particularly steep bit and thought, oh, I can do this. Well, should have known better. I took a dive which would have won a gold medal in the Olympics diving events, and broke my right elbow, chipped the bone and dislocated the elbow. However, I'd had 10 good years. I was now 75 nearly, and it was time to pack in. There's always a time to pack in, and you've got to know when that is. But there we are. You see, you're never too old. 62, false hips, bad knees, still had 10 years of good skiing. Skiing is as dangerous or as safe as you want it to be. It all depends what your attitude to taking a risk is. You want to ask this chap about taking risks, who was skiing down a little winding piste to a mid-piste cafe, decided to take a shortcut.
By accident.
Well, then tried to ski down what was even steeper than a black slope, but it was strewn with boulders and other dangerous bits of kit. However, 3 triple somersaults later, he landed in a big heap, still in one piece. But that's one of your skiing lives gone.
Yeah.
Really is. Be careful when you're skiing, but if you're careful, I thoroughly recommend it. So there we are. I hope you enjoyed that little story. I'll see if I can dredge up some more. I've been looking through my life. I'm writing a life story, actually. And it's coming on. This is this is book 2. But I'm writing all the little details of my life with pictures and things like that. Not because I've had a tremendously interesting life, but because I think it might be nice for people like Cameron and my other grandchildren to read what life was like when I was a lad and what life was like when I was growing up. I know I used to talk to my only grandparent, my grandmother, my mum's mum, and she was born in 1874 in Queen Victoria's times. Went through hard times in the late 1900s, 1800s, World Wars, 2 World Wars, and she had some terrific stories, and I often said you should write these down. But I don't think she was very literate. I think she left school when she was about 12 and probably couldn't write all that well. But she used to tell me these stories, and I suppose I could have written them down for her, but when you're 16, 17 years old, you don't listen to old fogies, do you? Anyway, listen to old people. They've got some interesting things. You can learn a lot from old people. Yeah, remember that. So I'll hand you back to Cameron now to say whatever it is he's got to say. Take care between now and the next video, and I hope to speak to you soon. Be good.
Thank you for that, Grandpa. That was very interesting, and yeah, I'm sure next video we'll do something similar, maybe another story, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed, viewers, and we'll see you next time.
Yes, one of the viewers wrote in to say, could I read a bedtime story? Presumably it was a younger viewer. Yes, well, I will. I'll leave it till the end of the video so that any older viewers who don't like bedtime stories can switch off. But I'll see if I can. I used to read bedtime stories.
Did you?
To my children. Yes, they loved it. And so did I. So yes, I will try and dig out a suitable bedtime story for next time. See you soon.